of now, and he will review it in the next 6 months. So let's get into Telecom Analyst to address this. We're now joined by the analyst at IDFC, we're joined by Abhishek now. Hi Abhishek, thanks for joining in. First, how do you view this impact of call drop compensation issue? What kind of a financial impact do you estimate in your model?
So on call drop issue, certainly the regulators would have done their due diligence before levying the penalty and through a direct compensation to consumers. But in our opinion at IDFC, we believe that a direct penalty on consumers could be slightly difficult to implement, as it leaves everything to the discretion of a consumer. And a better way to implement this could be a heftier penalty directly on the operators, which currently stands at maybe rupees 100 to 150,000 per instance of breach of the quality of service benchmark set by TRAI. And maybe some work on that aspect could result in a better outcome. However, we would wait for the industry bodies, reaction to such a penalty, and the things should be clearer in a month or two's time. We believe that worst case impact could be, it will be difficult to estimate any kind of an impact on operators at the moment, because it clearly rests with the discretion of the consumer right now. And it could be anything between 2 to 3% of revenues to maybe a 15-20% of the revenue, depending on the location and the kind of consumer we are talking about.
All right, Abhishek, you have a neutral rating on RComm. Would you view it any differently given that system or deal?
For Reliance Communication in particular, what is more important is the deleveraging exercise at the moment, which could be three-pronged. One is the stake sale in the tower business. The secondly, the stake sale in the real estate, which they own right now, which is unused in the balance sheet. The third could be in the form of sale of the global business. In terms of coming to the specific point of MTS merger or acquisition, it is giving them access to a valuable 800 megahertz spectrum, which will be valid for the next 18 years. However, that does not change the needle too much, as the key part for them is launching 4G services on the 850 megahertz band, along with the partnership with RGO. So we retain our neutral rating on the stock at the moment, because largely the core business of RComm is underperforming or lagging the peers in terms of revenue growth and the EBITDA growth as well. However, we believe that corporate actions as planned by the company, if materialized, could propel the growth engine going forward. And we would be watchful on the stock at the moment.
Okay. What about Bharti Airtel? We've seen the stock correct a fair bit. I think down close to about 20-25% in the last few months. Where do you stand on the stock now post this correction?
Bharti Airtel, we have an outperformer rating right now, and the reasons for that are three-pronged. First, they have a rich spectrum asset across technology bands, which makes them better placed to ride the data wave in the country right now. They have almost a pan-India 3G presence, along with a 4G capability in 14 or 15 markets out of the 22 circles in India. Secondly, the pain point of them has been the underperformance in the international operations. International operations have shown a healthy trend over the last 2 to 3 quarters now, with a constant currency growth of in the range of 2 to 3%, which shows that clearly the operations are stabilizing at the moment. So that pain point is also reducing. Thirdly, if you look at the high investments they have made on spectrum over the last 4-5 years, still the balance sheet has been well managed by the company, and this has been largely because of the value unlocking levers which they have in the form of tower assets in Africa, in the form of streamlining the operations in Africa. They are in talks with Orange Telecom for stake sale in 4 African markets, and also the stake sale in Bharti Infratel. So they have utilized those value unlocking levers very well to manage the debt burden on them. And this also makes them well placed to participate in any future round of auctions, which is why we have an outperformer rating on Bharti, and they are slightly better placed in the market at the moment to ride the data wave, as I said.
All right, Abhishek, one final question then. Idea's quarter 2 numbers, they missed estimates. You currently have a neutral rating, but what could lead to a potential re-rating on Idea?
Idea Cellular has been a company which has been the fastest growing incumbent since last 7 years, and the management track record of operational outperformance has sustained till the 2 quarters back. And this was largely driven by the continued market share gains across circles and a profitable growth over the period. What has changed now is basically the fact that the accelerated investment on data services from the company could pressurize profitability in the near term, and which was visible also in the Q2 results, wherein the margins had dropped 150 basis points sequentially, and this was the sharpest drop for a Q2 in the last 6 years. Secondly, they also have to plug the 3G and 4G spectrum footprint in a couple of circles, which could entail higher investment on spectrum. And currently, after these 2015 auctions, their balance sheet is slightly stretched at about 3.2 times net debt to EBITDA, which makes them at a juncture which keeps them at a juncture which is slightly tricky at the moment. And resultantly, we have a neutral rating on the stock. And what would make us change the rating is basically the fact that if at all they could successfully plug the 3G and 4G footprint over the next 6 to 12 months, and they could accelerate the data growth in line with the industry average, then we might reconsider our neutral rating.
Okay, Abhishek Gupta, pleasure having you with us today. Enjoy your conference. Outperform rating on Bharti Airtel and neutral on Idea as well as Reliance Communication. We leave the market in a fairly good shape. It had dithered a bit, but now it's coming back and regaining some momentum. So we wrap up on this show, but as we do that, here's a chance to be a part of India's biggest investor summit. Remember,